Hi everyone, welcome to today's live discussion. Today we're talking about Southeast Asia, which is one of the most exciting and fast-moving regions for currently game studios and publishers, but also that is a region that is very easy to misunderstand from the outside. I'm very happy to welcome Robin, Southeast Asia game publishing strategist and founder of Grabber Media. Robin helps game studios and publishers enter, scale, monetize across the region. Robin brings to us incredible hands-on experience in PC and mobile game publishing with senior roles at companies that include Sega, NetEase, Gravity, Gumi, AsiaSoft, and Mozet. Robin, thank you so much for joining us. I will pass the floor to you now. Could you tell us a little bit more about your background and how you came to focus on the region of Southeast Asia and Southeast Asia game publishing?
Sure. Thanks a lot, Liza, for the invite for the discussion. So I'm Robin. So a basic introduction of me. As what Liza has mentioned, I have been in the game industry for over 20 years, starting from the days of, I would say, Java phone Nokia days till now. So over 20 years, I've seen the growth of games on phones from where it is till now what we have. So I've been in game publishing and doing all sorts of stuff as focused in Southeast Asia. Not only mobile, but also had experience on game publishing on the PC mobile, PC and the web-based games that have evolved through over the years. So right now I'm has started up Grabber Media and basically working as a consultant and strategist for game companies who are exploring or publishing into the Southeast Asia region.
Thank you so much, Robin. Your really practical and in-depth publishing experience will allow us to have this really in-depth, broad market overview. For everyone joining us live, before we dive into the core idea of today's discussion, I will just say that we'd love to hear the questions and comments as well. Please feel free to drop them in the comments, and we'll do our best to bring a few into this discussion either towards the end or we'll respond to them after our live. Let's start with the core idea of our discussion. One of the major problems, maybe that a lot of students may think about Southeast Asia as one launch region, but one of the clearest points from your writing is that this framing can create certain problems. Just to introduce this issue a bit, what would you say when students or publishers say they want to enter the region of Southeast Asia? What do they usually misunderstand from the start? What are some common mistakes and misunderstandings?
Okay, I think I heard a lot of friends, publishers who mentioned, "Oh, let's go Southeast Asia." I think the first thought, the common thought or misconception is that Southeast Asia is one as a whole, but in fact, actually, we are having multiple countries. Say that we are very similar to like the structure in Europe. So you had
Correct.
all Germany, Italy, France, and so on, and they speak different languages. It's the same that we have in Southeast Asia. So we don't have one single language, one single culture. Everyone is unique. So it's very different, and companies need to take note of how to enter the market because of different culture, different language, and also different localization needs. So it's not a one plan fits all.
Yeah, I really like this example of how you mentioned Europe because studios would, when they are launching into Europe, they would definitely think differently about all other countries like Germany, France, the UK, Poland, and so on. So it's just like that we can't treat the Southeast Asia as one block. There needs to be distinct regional strategies that can cover every market. Southeast Asia is several distinct businesses, and to a student that is looking at the region for the first time, how would you explain it and share like the biggest differences between the key Southeast Asian markets, which are Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore?
Okay, for Southeast Asia, I think all the country has grown at a different pace. That's one thing. So we need to group the countries into different cluster or segments. So Indonesia has the biggest population in Southeast Asia with over 260 million population, followed by Philippines and Vietnam. So these are the big cluster countries where population is generally over 100 million. But the growth wise and the progress of the country is actually on a slower pace as compared to others. So this country gave you the mass, the player base, the download volume, but basically you need to consider that their GDP is lower, so you get lower ARPU. So this will be the one cluster. The next cluster will be like Thailand and Singapore. These are more advanced for for gaming space. Not and for this Thailand and Singapore, they are more actually on the higher ARPU side. Player base may be smaller, download may be lesser, but ARPU definitely is much higher, especially in Singapore, where we are a small nation, about 6 million, but spending power is great. And in between higher ARPU countries versus lower ARPU countries and volume, Malaysia is in between. Size-wise, is about 30 plus million, and it's a blend of it's a mix of how to say in between the two. Uh, Monetization is more moderate, healthy monetization which is growing, and also in terms of download wise, it's also growing at the same pace. So that's how we can classify. I mean, there are still other countries in Southeast Asia which are smaller, but
Yeah.
these are generally not in our focus when we are publishing in the Southeast Asian market.
Thank you. Yeah, the country map is definitely very helpful because we'll talk a bit about these metrics later. But overall, the idea is that the metrics like downloads, ARPU, community, player behavior, all those metrics and factors, they all need to be looked into when we consider those regions. So before we dive into those more in depth,
Mhm.
I would just maybe end this overview with which countries do you think are often either overestimated or underestimated from your experience?
Okay, I think first for overestimation is Indonesia, because I think because of the sheer size, over 260 million, the first thought that many people will have is, oh, it's a big country, there's a lot of opportunity, great downloads, cheap installs. But again, a lot of publishers actually forgot is that you get a lot of players, but pay rate is low, ARPU is low, and even monetization, where the how say where online payment is generally penetration is low. You need local payment channel support for the facilitation of monetization. So number of things that happen in Indonesia are overestimated. So like for example, games can get, oh, I can get 1 million downloads. Well, a lot of them will be happily counting, oh, 1 million downloads, I can pay rate is so much. Yes, maybe you apply that to some other countries. Maybe in Europe you get very good revenue, but you put that in in Indonesia, it actually it will not turn out to be. So a lot of projections done based on pure download numbers are overly estimated in Indonesia. So then on the other hand, the underestimated market will be typically like Thailand and Malaysia. So because their size are smaller as compared to Vietnam and Philippines, Thailand is about maybe 60 plus million. Malaysia top 38. So a lot of the common perception by publishers is we'll go after the bigger market first. But as mentioned before, the bigger markets are not going to give you the kind of revenue expectation that you can get. But in fact, like underestimated market like Thailand and Malaysia will actually give you the revenue closer to what you may be expecting due to higher
Mhm.
ARPU. And also in terms of pay rate wise, players in these two countries are actually more willing to pay as compared to other countries. Payment methods are more matured. Also, online payment, offline payments, and a lot of third-party payment channels are very well spread across these two countries. So I find publishers or game companies especially like to skip these two. One thing is because of the need for localization, because
Yeah.
Thai language is a must for Thailand, and Malaysia-wise is a need to have at least Melayu, which is the local language in Malaysia, and also in Chinese, because the
Mhm.
population-wide mix in Malaysia is very unique. About 60%, 70% are Malays, about 20 plus percent are Chinese. So you still need these two local languages for when actually releasing a game in Malaysia. And frequently, I would say misunderstood country is Singapore. We are too small to be taken note of, but again, because of our high ARPU,
Yeah.
which is comparable to, I would say, comparable to United States.
Mhm.
Um, Many countries when they launch game are skipped. We don't get a lot of attention. But once you are able to get hold of the community and players in the country, higher pay rate and higher ARPU actually comes actually give a very good ROI on the investment in marketing, especially in Singapore.
Mhm. 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 Thank you. That is a very strong regional map. One idea that I took from this argument is that there is definitely not one size fits all approach, and that just the numbers are like, for example, in Indonesia are not telling us the full story. So we always need to pay attention to like game studios need to answer the question how to choose the right market for their specific game, because the numbers indeed can look very attractive and but raw numbers can be a little bit misleading. So if we look into these regions, especially those you said that are underestimated but show great signals, how do you decide whether so how do studios decide whether those regions are particularly a good fit for their game? What should they look at beyond the player count and downloads and the ARPU to make this decision about prioritizing one market over another for their particular genre and platform?
Okay. Okay. This is a very challenging question. First of all, I think we have different cultures, different playing habits, different community likings. So again, it depends on the genre of the game itself. You need to test it out, and you need to do the local market research and validate whether the game fits well in which country, and whether the local players are able to accept it, and also whether they show willingness to pay, and whether and also the community were able to drive community, gather the community, and so forth. So you need to go and try, need to go and do a research, because
Yeah.
some games fit well in Singapore, Thai, Malaysia, because we do have similar playing habits. Some games fit well in Philippines and Indonesia. So so you need to, I mean, you need to really come to the no, let's say come to the region,
Yeah.
experience it, and work on the how say work on the valid market test or even the research test.
Mhm.
So few things: whether the genre fits, and also whether your game has a monetization fit, whether your games how say the pricing, especially for free to play, whether you can you're priced within the market or you can price out of the market. Like as I mentioned, Indonesia has low ARPU value, so games in Indonesia, they can sell items as low as 10 cent US, which you don't see in basically the Western markets. Even like Google or Apple, they have allowed countries in South Asia to reduce the price tier, which I think the lowest could be about 30 cents. But in terms of local payment, we can go as low as 10 cents. So monetization fit, whether your pricing strategy fits, which is better. And also on the operation side, whether the company can support the localization, the community, and also life ops requirements that the local country needs. So it's not just simply just looking at genre, but there are quite a number of factors to consider before the game publisher or game company decide on to focus on which market. Because sometimes it's not easy, it's not possible to focus on all markets. You may launch across all, but the marketing wise, will have a stronger focus on just a few, in order to grow the game, or basically in terms of users or in terms of revenue.
Localization. So you mentioned that localization, community, and also live ops, all three of those seem to be very big topics for the regional launches, and we will definitely dive into them a little bit later into our live. What I would ask you now, considering you mentioned Indonesia as one where the where you can what is it 10 cent purchase or what is like the lowest purchase you mentioned the lowest price is it 10 cent or
Yeah,
uh,
10 cent USD.
Oh yeah. So Singapore, on the other hand, seems to be on the opposite side, or on the
Yes.
opposite side of this scale. So how does Singapore fit in regarding the maybe generous and business models that perform well here, considering it's so different with its high ARPU signal?
Okay. Okay. I think for mobile or PC games, I think the key business model will be in-app purchase, which actually generate a higher revenue, especially for RPG or non-casual genre. Um, so uh, depending on the game itself, let's say if you are launching something that's uh, RPG where monetization is high on IAP, definitely markets Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand will be a better option. But let's say if we are looking at more casual base and you are driving more towards in-app purchase or volume base, um, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines would be a better one for games that can attract big numbers and but with high low price tier volume. So in terms of skill, I mean, as you mentioned, in terms of skill, Singapore is on other end as compared
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Indonesia or Philippines. So high value market usually is very strong on in-app purchase. And I mean like uh, on the other spectrum, Philippines, Indonesia, we are more on lesser volume, and actually IAA in-app ads would be a much could be a good way to actually to increase revenue for game. In Singapore wise, I think honestly we don't like to see ads, so we rather pay not to see. But on the other side, they don't mind to see ads because they feel that they can get something more worthwhile out of the whole package.
Do you think it would be helpful to distinct those markets as one category is scale markets and another category is more monetization markets?
Uh, yes, that would be it would be good to we can categorize that way. because depending on the game itself that we launch. So let's say if you are launching a game that's very player base heavy, that would be good for skill market because especially where you can have a monetization policy of low price items. Then for monetization markets like Sing, Malaysia, or Thailand,
Mhm.
strategy works the other way. So and monetization is high across the board, especially the mid and the high tier. But however, again, in Indonesia, let's say in countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, there's a very unique segment where they are super high spending. We can call them super whales. That
Mhm.
their spending power is the same as what are the higher spending market are. But this percentage is very low. So so it's not really. It's very hard to really capture this market for all the games.
Mhm, mhm. Vietnam also seems to be displaying strategic signals, if I'm not mistaken. Do you think also where would you place Vietnam in this regional opportunity, considering its publishing ecosystem and regulatory complexity? What would you?
For Vietnam wise, due to the government controls implemented, where you need to obtain a license and license and permit. Actually, Vietnam will fall more into um, the skill market because of population wise, and actually right now a lot of players are actually very interested in casual hybrid games among the younger ones. But again, there's also a small scale market, which the older players are actually more willing to pay. So that's still it can there's a I would say there's a bigger skill market, but there's still opportunity for monetization market.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Thank you. If we draw the overall line here, we can see that the country choice would always be the country choice for game studios would depend on genre, the platform, also very importantly, the business model, monetization tips, and of course, the operational readiness, what we earlier mentioned about localization, community, payments. But before we move into the operational nuances, I would also like us to cover to go from market size to player behavior and platforms. Southeast Asia can often be described as mobile first, but maybe not necessarily mobile only. And different markets within this region would have different relationships with PC, console, competitive games, and different genres like
Hmm.
casual, social play, RPGs. So my first question within these distinctions is how different are player expectations when it comes to platform, like
Uh,
mobile, PC, console, or cross-platform.
okay. As you mentioned, I think overall, general Southeast Asia a lot will term us as mobile first, due to the number of mobile handsets we have and the mobile penetration that is very high across whole Southeast Asia. Basically, it's like everyone has a phone. Uh, But again, the over the years that how the gaming industry evolved in Southeast Asia is very interesting. We don't we actually had a very strong PC base. So many players in the region actually grow up from arcades to cyber cafes to PC games, then to mobile. And in between the PC games, you had the PC client-based game, and also the web-based games,
Yeah.
browser HTML5 games. But the how to say the reach of mobile games that the reach of mobile phones where we can purchase at low price has grown very fast in South Asia. That's why we have
Mhm.
become mobile first. And across besides PC and mobile, console was also there, but it's very limited because of the high price. I
Yeah.
mean, due
Yeah.
to our GDP and our annual income of per person, getting a console is not cheap. Is a luxury, compared for many countries like Indonesia, Philippines, or Vietnam and Thailand.
Mhm.
So console is limited, but there's still a community who actually very favor console games, and they have very strong liking for Japanese-based games. So
Mhm.
so that's how we grow over the year. The how to say the path is very similar across all Southeast Asia. So in a way that we have very certain strong affinity for each other due to the way that we play games. So for a game, as you mentioned, cross-platform. Actually, right now, cross-platform is very popular in Southeast Asia because hardcore players we like to play on PC, and because we evolve from PC to mobile, so there's no difficulty for us to switch back, to do a
Yeah.
switch from PC to mobile along the way.
Mhm. That is a very curious context. I'm also wondering whether the console situation, so the console is not popular in Southeast Asia, but how about Singapore? Is it any different considering the higher ARPU and monetization?
Actually, yes, Singapore has high number of console sets sold. Not only
Mhm.
console, but I consider even those handheld like Switch, Nintendo Switch.
Mhm.
Singapore has a high. I would say in general across Southeast Asia, Singapore could be like number two in terms of volume being sold across.
Mhm.
Number one could be I think maybe should be Thailand, but Singapore is
Mhm.
always in the top half. Although we are small, but because purchasing power is high, so getting a console, getting a Switch is not a big issue for us. And consumption
Mhm.
of games, because all these console and handheld are actually premium games. Buying a game off the shelf is quite easy for us, but if you
Mhm.
compare it to someone in Philippines or Indonesia, asking them to get a 70, 60, 70 US game premium game off the shelf, that may cost quite a fair bit for the player.
Mhm. Mhm. That's a very valuable distinction between the markets. So I think we can agree here that mobile first is very is the general idea, but it will not always mean that PC or console are irrelevant everywhere. And especially that's a very interesting idea about how because the
Mm,
region came from PC to mobile, it's not difficult to switch back to the
yes.
PC. That is very interesting. Regarding the genres, where would you see the strongest opportunities for genres like RPG, strategy, shooters? Maybe sports simulation, casual, hybrid casual games. Do you see any distinction between the regions in terms of which genres are popular and where.
Okay. I mean, in like what I mentioned, how we grow up playing games. One
Yeah.
of the earlier genres of games that we actually played, that's popular across Southeast Asia, actually is MMO and RPG games.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, these kind of games are very popular, especially with the older age group that are maybe like 35 and above, where we grow up
Mm-hmm.
playing all these kind of games. And like shooters and sports simulation are actually more attractive to the younger segment across. So like 35 and below, because they grew up playing this kind of games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
So
mhm.
adding on, different genre also works in not saying that only these two kind of genre works well, but all genre actually has a strong how to say has a position in different countries. Let's say for example, strategy games. Those who grew up playing RPG and MMO also has a certain liking for strategy games, because there's also a period of time where strategy games is popular, especially on PC, where we had strategy games from China, Japan, and also from the West. Uh, I mean, like for the older segment like me, we play Command, we can play Command and Conquer, Age of Empires. We play Romance or Three Kingdoms, and all the strategy games that comes in place. And sports wise, on the other hand, like sports games also do well in South Asia. We are very football crazy, except maybe Philippines, which they are more had liking for basketball. But football is basically the number one sports here. So if you check the charts, EA football and EA and Konami football games are actually doing very well in South Asia. They have a lot of install base, downloads, and also doing well on the revenue side, where they are constantly in the maybe top 10 grossing across Southeast Asia for the month and for the year. Yeah. And besides that, the as younger population and the introduction of casual and casual hybrid games, more people
Yeah.
are picking it up, especially we are so mobile friendly on in South Asia. So all these game actually does work well, where it's good for 5-10 minutes game. So across all genre is able to find its position, but it's just where you need to find the audience. And besides that, localization and understanding of culture is also a key thing in order to attract and keep the position there.
Thank you for this very in-depth overview. This was a very, this were a very, I think, important distinction that nuance that football is popular everywhere except for the Philippines, right? So the basketball is the go-to sport there, but other than that, the whole region is more into the football. Mm,
Yes.
Okay. Would you also say that the social and competitive layer play any part in the preferences for the genres? Are they important? The social play and the competition when it comes to genre preference in Southeast Asia?
Yes, that plays a very big part. I think the way that we play games, we are very sociable and we are very community driven. And
Yeah.
actually, overall, we like to play in groups and clans. So also at the same time, we're very competitive. So games with guilds, clans, or groups or social system actually has commonly has a better performance and actually build better retention because players in South Asia we like to have a strong how say we like to create a sense of belonging identity, and actually all these guild clans community actually is a way to get players to come back on a daily basis. We I'm not sure but in South Asia is players are actually players make friends with each other in the game more than what they make outside. So they form a they form strong affiliation for each other, uh, and it become a sense of family ties, and that makes player come back to play more, and also on monetization part. So all these social elements is very important in South Asia, and it's very needed um, to maintain a strong community in for us. I mean, there are some countries that may be, players may be a bit more on a single player basis, but definitely in South Asia, we are more of a mass, a community base.
That is a very beautiful cultural nuance. This feeling of belonging to the community, and it's very. I think it's very important for students to implement those social systems to into the retention and monetization strategies. What would you say would be the go-to social systems? Maybe like guilds, clans, status plays, or some other elements to implement in the game to like the key elements to implement and help provide this feeling of belonging to the community within the game.
Yeah. Uh, as you mentioned, not only just in game, out of game is also very important. Um, so in game we build, we build the guild system, the clan system, or community system for players to get connected, interact, and actually playing together. But out of game wise, we also build networks, groups on the social side, especially on Discord for active players, uh, and in South Asia, we do a lot of offline events for players, gatherings, players to gathering to compete, to come together. They love it. So especially, how to say, shooter games, survival games, or even like
Yeah.
those MOBA. Constantly see in South Asia, we had a lot of competition, cups, tournaments, even community get together in different cities and so on. Players love it. It just strengthens the community spirit better, and that keeps the game going well a lot. So we are very, I would say, we are very community driven, and because of that, actually, that improved the rest of the different aspect like distribution, retention, monetization.
This seems to be one of the strongest ideas and takeaways in general for understanding the Southeast Asia market is that the community is can be like the distribution system itself. What do, for example, would you say that community is also like the Facebook group, the TikTok, YouTube, Discords, live streams, local conversation? What would you, if we talk about this as community building channels, so how would you say how important are creators in this equation? Creators, influencers, and the social channels like TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Discord, and so on.
Okay, social channels are very important because I think no because not only mobile first, not only on games, but also in terms of adoption of social channels, social networks. If I mean, if you I did a research shown that South Asia consumption of social media content is very high. Whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, or Discord. We are one of the highest in terms of time spent on mobile or social content. Basically, it's like we are like between maybe what 6 to 8 hours on average on a day basis. Yeah. So and players and as you mentioned, creators are very important. They are the ones who actually bring how say bring content about the game to players and to the community itself. So
Yeah.
we like to watch creators play. Uh, I mean, uh, that's what a lot of gamers do lah. But in South Asia, creators are very sought after, especially gaming creators are very popular in community because they try
Yeah.
to explore more things, especially when there's new updates. Creator try out first. I mean, players will take a look and copy or follow the strategy. So yeah, in for Southeast Asia, we have very strong, huge creator network from basically from all the macro to all the nano to the nano creators that we have.
What about the channels? Do you think there is a difference in what channels to prioritize when students considering different markets? What would be like?
Yes.
Are they like the common go-to channels, or would you say that they need to prioritize some channels for example, Vietnam, and some channels for Indonesia? Yeah.
Actually, there are. Then the prioritize of channel is actually based on the target audience group. Um, right. Because like for example, those who are more like 35 and above, they are more active on Facebook across
Yeah.
Southeast Asia. Then basically like 35 to 28 to 35, or they are more on the Instagram because they grow up with that. Then those who
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
younger, they are on the TikTok side.
Yeah.
So depending on your target audience, the type of game you are launching. So you need to find where your players are on the social network.
You also mentioned in some of your writing. You also mentioned the question is it brought me to the question since we're discussing the channels, but also the distinction of channels. I'm also wondering about the distinction of social momentum per country. So in some of your writing, you mentioned that Indonesia is a growth is very heavily driven by social momentum in Indonesia. Is it any different from other markets? Is it like distinctively driven by social momentum, or would you say that it's equally important across the region, or is Indonesia displaying even more involvement in the social momentum?
Okay, it's important across Southeast Asia, but why Indonesia, as mentioned, is very key because Indonesia is very widespread.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's made out of thousands of islands. The user base is very widespread, and in terms of, let's say, marketing reach, the best to build up across such a widespread country will be through the social side, especially through community where players, viewers will share and like and spread it across their own network. So we try to make things viral, especially in big countries, Philippines, Indonesia, because of the widespread reach that is needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some countries, let's say in Singapore or Malaysia, we are small and only a few key cities. So although social is very important, but in terms of, let's say, marketing reach wise, other means could be more effective at the start.
Okay, if we draw a line here, the strong idea is that community is the distribution system across the regions. For students, foreign students that are entering the regions, what would you say is a good strategy for building local community before and after the launch, if they're just entering the region?
Okay, for first thing to do is always localization and
Yeah.
understanding of culture for Southeast Asia. Because except in Singapore where English is a white first language for us, all the different countries
Yeah.
actually are more accustomed to their own local language, especially, and they have their own local writing. So building community needs localization. And one thing about localization is not just a translation, because
Yes.
player understand that you are using a machine translated versus a human translated, because
Yeah.
the local culture, the way that things are being phrased, cannot be captured by machine at certain times. So you need to localize, build the trust of the community that you are there for long term, you are willing to invest in local support for the community. Players will start to build the trust with you. Will gain the trust of players, especially on support side. So with that, they will be willing to stay and help to grow the game.
Since Alconost is a localization company, we also can totally agree here that this topic of localization is very close to our heart, and
Yes.
yes, it's absolutely correct that localization should not be framed as just merely translation, and it's absolutely important in trust building as well, and
Mm.
it even display like whether the market is being treated as an afterthought, if it's just fully maybe machine translated, or whether the country is being treated as a priority if there is like the great localization in place. What do you say in some markets and some maybe even generous? We discussed this in some markets, localization is even more important than in some others. Maybe would you say that there is a distinction across genres where localization is critical, or would we just rather stick to the market distinction?
Um, from the years of experience in launching game in South Asia, localization is very crucial for us. Uh, I launched game without localized text localization of the game before. It failed. Yeah. So from there we had very good learning experience. Definitely localization, understanding what player wants, player needs, understanding of cultures, and also providing the right localized support for players is very crucial for the survival and the growth of a
Yeah.
game.
One also one question to draw the line here, between to distinct between the markets. When I shared the live with our company as well, one of my teammates was curious to ask you about the market distinction. So is this if we already mentioned the localization importance in certain countries. So would it be correct to say that in markets like Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam, localization is absolutely important, while in Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore, it is not. It can be English. The game can be English only. Or would you say there is some other distinction between markets?
Okay, for let's say look at it this way. For a game to be able to capture attention and commitment from players, you need localized language. Vietnam is a must because it's a government requirement. Thailand is a must because
Yeah.
the players, they are actually the people in Thailand. They have their own, it's an own spoken and written language. Same for Indonesia. Although they use alphabets to as a way to write, but it's still the way of reading, writing, and pronunciation and meaning is different. Definitely, you need all this localization in order to survive at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like then in Singapore, Malaysia, and Philippines, yes, we do learn English, but Singapore is okay because it's basically the common language spoken across. But in Philippines, they do learn English, but it's actually mixed with their local language, which is Tagalog. So there are still players who are a big part of population who don't really fully understand English, maybe simple terms, but in terms when they come to playing in a game, they still revert back to their local language when they communicate. Then Malaysia-wise, we had, as mentioned earlier, we had the diverse population between
Yeah.
Malay, Indians, and Chinese. English is not the common language. Actually, Malay is the common language because everyone learns Malay in Malaysia. So they do understand English, but again, it's still not the best preferred language that we like to have it over there. So again, just a English language game that works across maybe a casual game that has very simple terms
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
players
Yeah.
understand. But when you the game with heavy text narrative and also when you need to build communities, then it is very different. It's a different ball game.
If a studio was entering the region and started to localize their presence. We already mentioned that the community localization is absolutely important. What would you also say are the must-have starting points to localize first, like store page, ads, UI, tutorials, full game text? How would you advise to prioritize localization efforts when the studio is just entering the market?
Stoppage is a must because I mean when we do our user acquisition campaign, we drive users
Yeah.
to the store page. Especially like Thai players, those who don't really understand English, they see an English store page, they may just go, they may just click out of it. So store page is important, and also the UI, uh, that's very needed because the player needs to understand what are the common commands, all this to play the game. You may, I mean, if you may have narrative that could be a machine translated, But again, all the key thing is UI UX and store pages need to be localized,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm wondering if you have seen really bad examples of when localization was neglected, and the game faced consequences, maybe even PR consequences, or would you say like the most general disadvantage of neglecting localization would be just that you're losing players and becoming invisible in the market, or maybe have you seen any like even crisis happening because the localization was either neglected or incorrect.
Okay. Yes, there are. I think the first thing that we will encounter is on the user acquisition side. So I seen ads that are not localized. So they still show, some still show in English, some still show in Chinese, but you are promoting, let's say, in Indonesia or Thailand. So if you
Yes.
put a different language, players don't understand. So they will look at images. So even let's say you don't localize your marketing content. Let's say you localize marketing content, but I mentioned that you drive users to a store page or even to a web page. You don't have a local language, player don't understand, they will be turned off and go away. Because first thing is thing is, oh, this game is not in my local language, I will not play
Yeah.
because my friends will not play. Ah, so
Oh.
if they see everything is in localized, they will install, download, try it out, and if it's fun, they may also just share the message across to their friends or to their network. Yeah. So that's just something we learn. I learned over the years that sometimes we thought, oh, maybe they understand English. We can just reuse the same English ads or
Yeah.
content. But uh, from the results it came out, we can look at the data. The conversion is lower. CPM is higher. CPS is higher because it's not localized.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's really nice that data can also tell us the clear story here, because localization is can risks being treated as like revenue enabling asset, but not always, not in all industries we can tie the direct impact of localization on the revenue,
Mm,
because in some industries it would rely more on, for example, on sales being the primary revenue driving mechanisms. So it's really nice that in the game industry you can see the numbers so clearly that will tell
mm.
the most persuasive argument in favor of localization. Um, we are nearing the end of our discussion, but I think it's also important to cover the culturalization aspect and the culture. Since we covered a little bit of localization and community, I think that live ops and local cultural moments are a very big part of the Southeast Asia market entry. So if we just say generally how important are live operations for Southeast Asia success, and so, for example, what do global studios get wrong when they just copy paste a global event calendar into the region, and what local moments would matter the most for Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore?
Okay. Okay. Life ops is very important because earlier in the discussion, the path that we learn how to play games, most of the games we play are free to play. So free to play games depends on life ops for monetization, retention, and also
Yeah.
for continuation. And like what you mentioned, can a game company put a global calendar on Southeast Asia? Yes, you can do that, but we still prefer that we have our local events or festivals or culture being shown in the game. Especially, I say, bring back the example in Thailand, where the Thai New Year is a very popular event in Thailand.
Yeah.
So during that 2 weeks, uh, all games that has the localized event actually has see increase in monetization for that 2 weeks or for that whole month. because Thai players like to get their own costume, they get their own culture in in the game for themselves. Then let's say for Chinese, where is Chinese New Year is celebrated across Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, basically across whole Southeast Asia. But in Malaysia, Singapore, and Vietnam, it has stronger affiliation because we celebrate Chinese New Year more in that. So when there's live op events that focus on Chinese New Year, we will also have be more willing to spend because we like what the culture aspect of what we are doing or what we are having. So not only global games companies needs to take note of local cultures,
Yeah.
festival events, because these are all areas where you can monetize. Because events is very important for monetization. So you can have something, can have something slot in every month. Players will be happy to spend.
It
Yeah,
is just
but
amazing. Yeah.
but on top of that, one thing important for Southeast Asia is payment channel. Definitely, we
Yeah.
need to include
Yeah.
third-party payment channel uh, to increase the monetization rate. In fact, third-party payment can contribute. In terms of the share between store and third-party payment, it can reach as high as 50-50. And in Vietnam, it's more than 50.
So this is also another very important topic about monetization and payments. I think since we are a little bit pressed for time, I would suggest to our audience, if you have any questions about the topic of the distinction between the monetization, I would encourage you to reach out to us in the comment section, and we'll get back to this. For now, I would say that it is just amazing how local cultural events can really drive engagement and spending. And the takeaway for foreign students would be maybe that not the global events are not the problem, but it's the problem if it's only global events, right? So the global events should be mixed with local cultural moments because the key spending drivers. Yeah. Okay. Um, it's it's quite the whole topic is very in depth, and Robin has a very multifaceted experience. So also I would encourage our viewers to reach out for Robin consulting if they needed help with entering Southeast Asia region. uh, to wrap up our session, let's make it practical and give some like checklist. So if we imagine like a student is interested in Southeast Asian region, they're still at the very early planning stage. What should they do before spending on lunch? What are like the key steps to do? And what are the key 5 questions to ask themselves internally?
The 5 key questions.
Yeah. What would you say that like if the student is interested in the region, what would you say is the first 5 questions to ask internally, or what would you say they should do before investing in the region, and how should they plan it if we were to put it in the checklist?
Okay, I think 5 key question is I think first thing is our games suitable for Southeast Asian market,
Yeah.
because the way that maybe we like certain visuals or certain gameplay, certain games may not fit here. So if they say yes, next is where's our target audience, which are our target countries, whether there's an opportunity, and also besides that is also on acquisition and monetization. Are we able to get the users we want? The target audience, can we monetize our game and make a profit? Because that's the key thing.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing is, can we build a community out of it?
Mhm.
Because if you launch a game, you can't build a community, or except for casual wise. Let's say you are building those non casual genre, mid-core, hardcore. If you can't build a community, then it's also hard to maintain the user base, especially after investing into the publishing and marketing in Southeast Asia and not
Mhm.
able to last through it. So that's also the key headache for a lot of companies.
Thank you so much. This is a very useful checklist for all the studios that are considering entering the region. And overall, thank you so much, Robin. The whole session was incredibly practical, and I hope our viewers will come. Will leave the session with a better understanding of how the whole region is not just one launch checkbox, but several distinct markets that all require a very nuanced strategy. And the whole publishing system is very important. That's coming from all the way from choosing the right market and all the way to building community, planning live operations, localizing, and so on. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us live. If you found our session useful, feel free to share the recording with colleagues who might find this useful as well. Follow our amazing speaker Robin on LinkedIn. Check out his work. This recording will be available also through the same link, so you can come back to it later and share with your team. Uh, Thank you again, Robin, and thanks everyone to joining us. Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Liza. Thank you, everyone.
yeah. Bye, bye.
Okay, bye, everyone.